All right, well, good afternoon. My name is Yoshina Colbert Bradford. I'm with the South Metro Democratic Women's Council. And here, our purpose is to create awareness and facilitate and support various social issues and programs that concern the women in South Metro surrounding areas. So today we have Dr. Lawanna Owens-Twaites, which is another candidate, and she is a candidate from Union City. She is running for city council. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. So do you like Dr. Owens-Twaites or just Dr. Twaites? How would you prefer?
Whatever you choose. The kiddos in the building and the adults in the building call me Dr. OT. So that's
right. Well, give us a little introduction of yourself.
All righty. I am obviously a resident of Union City. I am first and foremost a wife, a mom. I have two amazing adult daughters, one of which is also a teacher in South Fulton. She's a third grade teacher. And our youngest daughter just graduated from Georgia State last year, and she is currently in law school.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So we're excited. I have been an educator for 33 years. I have taught, I have served as an administrator, and now I am serving as a literacy coach. I have also served as an adjunct graduate school professor. So I've had my hands in a lot of different little pots there, but mostly working with education and really just really helping to close the gap with students.
Oh, awesome. Well, that leads me right into the next question. What prompted you or what got you going to run for city council? Is this your first time running for office?
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank you. I listened to Urban View, which is a station on Sirius XM. And one of the rallying cries on this particular station is, what are you going to do about it? That's, Joe Madison says that, Karen Hunter says that, what are you going to do about it? So I've been listening to them over the years, and I realized that there was a lot going on in the community around me. And, I was on Nextdoor and, everybody's talking about this and that. And so that started me really going to the city council meetings and really hearing what was going on and how decisions were being made. And I was really, at the very beginning, I was very, very nervous to speak up. But once I got going, because I'm very passionate about just kind of equalizing the playing field for students. But once I got going and I said, you know what, we need to have more of a voice than on social media. And I just started getting more involved and wanting my voice to be heard. And I have, because I have adult children, I have a little bit more time than a lot of folks. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to speak up because people are passionate about issues and we can't continue to let things happen to us. We have to be willing to take a stand. And so that was what am I going to do about it? And so that was pretty much the catalyst for me.
Wow, that is awesome. And I can see the passion. So I know it's burning in you. So now that leads me into, what is your platform? Why are you're running. So what is your platform running on?
Well, I am really passionate about really having strategic community development. I'm a New Yorker, and so I'm used to living in a community where my needs are met and not having to leave the community to get my needs met. And so initially, we moved down to this particular area and I loved it. I love the trees. I love, just everything about this community. And, I said, okay, well, we have a Publix right here. This is really awesome. And, I talked to my neighbor and he was telling me about the plans that they had for development. I was so excited. But as time has gone on, I haven't seen that development that is holistic in approach. And that has really been the motivating factor. And it has really disheartened me because, I've worked in Alpharetta, I've worked in Roswell, I'm from New York. And so I see what communities can offer tax-paying citizens, and I don't see that. And so that is my major focus, just strategic community development, not just, kind of a Harry-Carry thing, but what are we going to do so that everyone is a part of the conversation, that there's true collaboration with all stakeholders, and that we're creating solutions that work. And so I'm not seeing that holistic approach. That's really, really important to me. And just small business development. We have a few small businesses, but I know that we could have more. And with that small business development, that empowers people financially so that we can build our community up. And, I feel like so many of us go shopping in other areas, whether it's Peachtree City or Douglasville or Fayetteville, and we shouldn't have to do that. We should be able to keep our money in our community and develop our community. And so those are really, really my key points, just that civic engagement. People need to feel heard, not that you are talking to them patronistically. It's like, okay, well, I'm in charge and this is what I'm going to do because this is best for you. No, that's not how we build civic engagement. We need to have more family and youth initiatives. As an educator, that's really, really important to me, making sure that our children have what they need within our community and just really creating that community feel, working. I think it's so important to work across the aisle. South Fulton is right on our border. So we need to be partnering. We need to hear their voices. We need to figure out how we can all work together. I know that we have, we have all of the cities close to us. I work in Fairburn, so I understand that, but we are still one community. And so that's really my passion. That's really a goal that I have. How can we all work together so that we can create the ideal community of the South?
Awesome. Everything that I needed to hear. Well, that leads me into, you mentioned to have the development part, more of a community feel, having accessibility to the stores or convenience of things that we personally like in our own neighborhood. So I appreciate hearing that from you. My next question, it leads me into the next question, which you mentioned that Union City does border city of South Fulton. So there's been a lot of development in that area. So my next question, what are your thoughts as far as city council would be on the warehouses?
Oh, you mean my sore spot. It is most disheartening to me. It's almost, since I've been here, it's been like 16 warehouses. And and I totally understand that developers want to sell and develop their property. However, I also understand that people need to have a voice in what is developed throughout their community. One of the, it's funny because the first face-to-face city council meeting I attended, not virtual, was probably about 6 weeks ago. And a developer stopped me to ask me if I would support something, because, we were just talking. And my question to her was, what about infrastructure? Where we can put up all of these warehouses, but what about our infrastructure? We think about our schools, and obviously I'm very passionate about schooling. And when I look out and I see 2 schools with a warehouse sitting in front of them, that's a problem for me, because with that warehouse comes the trucks, comes the fuel problems, comes pollution. I mean, there are so many detriments to the inundation of warehouses in our community. And it's saying that we don't deserve better. And so my thinking is, why can't we work together? I totally understand that this is your property, but in order to get something, you have to be willing to give something. You know, I was reading a post this morning and someone was talking about sidewalks, basic quality of life issues. You know, I taught in Roswell before I came down to Fairburn to work. And, you know, I remember them wanting to build something up in Roswell. And oh my goodness, I remember the parents at our school. I mean, they just formed a posse and they were like, no, this is not going to happen. We are going to have a tennis court. Sure enough, it didn't happen. And they got their tennis court. That is the power of the voice. And I think we forget that we have that power, that we can put in place restrictions. We can decide as a community what's best for us. You don't get to dictate. And this is one of the things I told the developers when I met with him, you know, because he was talking, you know, he lives in Gwinnett and I have a property in Gwinnett also. And I told him, I said, you know, because our property was in close proximity. And I said, I remember them wanting to build something on a lot, you know, where our property is. And we fought it. We absolutely fought it. And it was denied. And I said, that is the power that we have. And I don't think that we realize that. And so for me, as a city council member, which is really the reason that I'm running, is so that we can collectively say, no, come let us reason together. Let us come up with something that is best for us. We need to gain consensus. We just can't make decisions willy-nilly because it's good for you, because you're going back to where you live and you're not surrounded by warehouses, but you dumped all of that here. And I say enough. We understand, and I know I could go on and on about this forever, but just the air quality that is going to be impacted. We can't think about just here and now. We have to think about our children, what they are growing up under. And it's not acceptable. It's really not acceptable to me. And I know it's a long, bumpy road, but it's a road we need to travel collectively.
And what do you say to the citizens who feel or may think that this is why we use our power of voting? We vote to elect the right city council, mayor, individuals into office to make those decisions for us. Yes, we do want our voice to be heard. Right. And I'm one of those who go to the meetings, the MPU meetings. I'm in Atlanta, I'm in the South Side. So there's a lot of meetings to attend. So the question would be for a citizen like myself, who may say, not necessarily, but if I work a 9 to 5, I've already worked my 8 hours. I still have a family to attend to, but then now I have to go and fight with my elected officials after hours. You know, what do you say to those citizens? Or how do you feel about that thought process? Because I know it's always easy to say, we need people to come out. We need people to be engaged. They want to be engaged. They want to come out, but they don't have the time.
Mm-hmm. And I totally understand that. And as an educator, that's something that I hear, you know, parents who are working, because I was a working parent. So parents who are working, you're exhausted, you're coming home, you have to make dinner. We know that as a parent, as citizens, our children are our greatest resource. And we've got to be creative. You know, I remember, you know, working in another district and wanting to get parents out at night. So what do we have? Dinners and learn. Your children are going to eat, but now we're also providing you with some strategies that you can use to help your child at home. So we're getting two things done at a time. So we know that we're going to have to be creative. You know, everybody can't come to a meeting on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. You've got to bathe your children. You've got to get them in bed. Some people are working second shift. Some people are working 2 jobs. Some people are just flat out exhausted. And so we've got to be creative. Everything doesn't have to happen on a weeknight. We have learned through this pandemic the power of technology. You may be at the ballpark with your child, but you can attend this Zoom meeting. And so we have learned a lot. So I believe that what we have learned means that we have to shift our paradigm. We have to look at other creative ways in order to engage the community. Just because someone doesn't show up at a meeting doesn't mean they're not involved and committed. And I think so often, even as educators, we may think that, well, they don't even show up for the meeting. We don't know what people have going on in their lives. And it doesn't mean that they want less for their child or less for their community. We've got to be creative. We've got to be the ones that work to bridge the gap. For those who can't bridge the gap for themselves, we've got to be that. You know, there's a wonderful photo that I posted with John Lewis, just being that bridge. And I love that because it's so powerful. He's that bridge where others are crossing. And sometimes we've got to bend over to be that bridge so that other people can cross, because it's not about us. We've got to look back and we've got to be willing to be those people who pull other people along. And so for me, for leadership, that's what true leadership is. You know, I think about Cori Bush, who, you know, with the moratorium for, you know, the evictions, what did she do? She sat outside every single night until a change was made. It takes radical decision making, and we can't bend to the pressure that says, oh, well, we're just going to let them do it because they're going to do X, Y, and Z to us. No, those days are over. We've got to use the power that we do have. We've got to use that leverage.
All right. And using your power, that leads me to the next question for you. And you give me a brief answer on this one. What makes you qualified? I know going into qualifying week, you had to think and fill out all the paperwork and pay your fine, your fees. So what made you qualified? What made you feel as though you were qualified for this position?
Well, I looked at the position, I looked at my city, and I said, okay, I could move, or I could stay and fight and do something about it. I'm qualified because I believe that my work in service for the last 33 years, and, you know, including being a foster mom, has allowed me to see the challenges, and going to these city council meetings and talking to developers has allowed me to see the challenges and the pitfalls that come when people are silent. And so I'm not silent. You know, I believe that I have a voice and I'm going to use my voice. Do I know all of the answers? Absolutely not. But I do know that in order to move our community, and I'm not even going to say city because it's a community down here. In order to move our community, I believe that I have the ability to work to gain the consensus of people and to really look at cross-sector solutions. And so that's really, really key to me. And I feel like I've done that over the course of my life in working with educators and working with parents and working with students. I've done that work.
Awesome. And due to COVID-19, which we've all been dealing with, what legislative priorities would you push or support?
Really, you know, I was just kind of looking at some things, and there's so much funding out there. And I guess I get really disheartened because people apply for this funding and then there's really no plan if you get it. And so for me, I'm looking at helping residents deal with the financial impact of COVID-19. We need to really have referrals in place so that people know where they can go. People are still hurting, you know, and people need to know, okay, there's this pot of money. You know, it's funny because with money, it's always secretive. You know, there's always a few people that are getting those PEP loans or whatever loans they were getting. You know, it's like, and I'm thinking, now, how are you even qualifying for this when people who need the funds are not getting the funds? So that is first and foremost, the education. Okay, community, we have this pot of money. This is where we can spend this money. Let's get those applications in. We should never have to send money back to the federal government, especially in our communities where there are extensive needs. And so education is key. Communication, transparent communication is key. It shouldn't be the families and friends of people who knew the money was coming that are the first in line for the money. It needs to be people who are trying to save their businesses. And that's where that financial empowerment comes from.
Awesome. Last question. Don't know if you're ready for it. No, I'm just kidding. Just relax. What can constituents look forward to from Dr. Lawanna Owens-Twaites that they are not already receiving?
They can look for someone who's going to ask the tough questions. When you come and you have all these grandiose ideas and you're showing your PowerPoint with all your maps and your ideas, my question, what's in it for our community? That's all I want to know. I hear how you're going to make money, but what about us? Because you will leave and we're left with what you have developed. I'm not interested in that. What's in it for us? And it's not what's in it for me. I live here. So what's in it for us? And so I am that person who's going to ask those questions. I'm not really interested in your grandiose ideas or the fluff, you know, because I know people have a lot of fluff and they're selling this and, oh yeah, this is going to be great. No, I need to see the holistic plan. Then as someone who is representing constituents, they need to be part of the conversation. No longer should it be, this is happening to me and oh, well, I have no say. That is not acceptable. And that's how I felt, unfortunately, going to several of these city council meetings. I felt defeated. Like, oh, well, we just all said no. The fire marshal is here because we have so many people in this room and we're all saying no, but you just voted yes. That's a problem for me. That means that you're not listening to me. So that's what people can expect from me, that you're going to have a voice, because I am only doing this because I care about the community that I live in. And I care about the children that are growing up in this community. Why is it that other communities can have a great Boys and Girls Club and they can have this here and skate rinks? Why? That I don't understand that. And so I feel like development needs to benefit everybody that lives in our community.
Well, after this interview, I'm going to say, Dr. OT, I just want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you for allowing us to interview you and have this platform for you as well, and you being a part of that. So before we wrap up, please give everyone your email address, a phone number, a website, whatever it is that you would like to share, how they can get in touch with you, give funds because you need funds to run. They can order a sign. Give it to us.
Yes, it is Lawanna for UC@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much.